Consider how Seneca reveals that much of human life is lost not in great events, but in trivial distractions. Hours slip away in hopes and fears, in ceremonies and pleasures, yet we lament that life is too short. Reflect on Seneca's observation that some dwell in constant unrest, shifting ceaselessly from one thing to another, while others sink into drowsy sloth. Both fail to find true rest or to move in harmony with nature. Seneca warns that a life consumed by the affairs of others is a life enslaved. Such servitude robs liberty and leaves no space to learn how to live or how to die. Take account of your time, as Seneca counsels, for life is short only to those who misuse it. The hours are sufficient when devoted to your proper duties, yet many squander them on interests that are not their own. Examine your own strength and the nature of your undertakings before committing yourself, as Seneca advises. To overestimate oneself or to engage in unsuitable tasks leads to frustration and wasted time. In this sober reflection, what remains is the quiet recognition that life's brevity is not misfortune, but a solemn summons. The setting sun reminds us to measure our days with care and to cherish the time that remains. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Seneca writes in On the Shortness of Life. The complaint of brief life arises from neglect, from living as if time were infinite and our days unimportant. Consider how often we drift through days without true engagement, distracted by trivial pursuits. Seneca counsels that the length of life is measured not by years, but by the use we make of them, by the fullness of our attention to what truly matters. In Letters from a Stoic, Seneca reflects on the turmoil of his own times and the fleeting nature of power and fame. He finds solace in integrity and virtue, qualities that endure beyond the span of a single life. When grief presses upon us, it is not the loss of years that wounds most, but the loss of presence, the absence of one who filled our days with meaning. Seneca's counsel is to hold fast to what remains, the memory, the lessons, the quiet strength of the soul. To live well is to embrace the time given, neither fearing its end nor lamenting its passage. Seneca's teaching is a gentle reminder that life's true measure is not in its length, but in its depth. Seneca writes that some people are never at quiet, while others are always so, and both are to blame. The restless mistake agitation for industry, and the inert mistake sloth for moderation. He urges that motion and rest take their turns according to nature's order, like day and night. To live always in motion or always in rest is to live displeased and distracted. Seneca describes how many labor under inordinate desires, either fearing to act or clinging to uncertain hopes, which keeps them perpetually anxious and unsettled. This distraction prevents true repose. It is easier not to begin long disputes or burdens beyond our strength, for they add fire to fire in the mind. Instead, gentle exercises and lighter entertainments can temper the mind. Seneca advises moderation in what we pursue so that we neither stagger under the burden nor discharge it rashly. Cicero, reflecting on solitude, observes that even in enforced quiet, the mind may remain restless without purpose. Africanus, by contrast, was never unoccupied or lonely because his mind was engaged with worthy aims. Seneca's consolation is measured. Distractions steal our peace, but what remains is the possibility of measured calm, the quiet born of accepting our limits and living according to nature's rhythm. Seneca reminds us that wisdom is not a mere possession but a habit formed through daily meditation and practice. It fashions the mind and governs our actions, guiding us through the hazards of life with steady purpose. Epictetus teaches that the philosopher must live in the world as if not of it, controlling passions and emotions to remain ready for inevitable farewells. Such control brings freedom within a world full of dependencies. Cicero counsels that to reclaim your time, you must guard against violent excitement or depression. He advises keeping mental operations in harmony with nature, focusing on elevating themes and restraining impulses under reason's rule. Epictetus offers practical guidance for every situation. Whether at a banquet, in competition, or among family, the philosopher knows how to act in accordance with nature, preserving the mind's freedom and focus. When external circumstances press upon you, remember that your true power lies in your response. The mind's discipline, cultivated through reason and self-control, is the fortress no loss can breach. Seneca observes how many live in restless agitation, never at quiet, shifting endlessly from one concern to another, or sinking into slothful inactivity. This unrest is a form of suffering, a failure to be present in the moment. He reminds us that life is divided into past, present, and future, yet the present slips away unnoticed. What we have done is certain, what we shall do is uncertain, but the present is all we truly possess. Epictetus advises that when you act according to clear judgment, you should not fear being misunderstood. If your action is right, why shrink from the eyes of the world? This is a quiet strength rooted in integrity. He further warns against succumbing to momentary gratifications that seduce and subdue us. Instead, set against these the greater gain of conscious victory over impulse, a triumph of reason over appetite. Seneca cautions against the inversion of natural order, rising at night and sleeping by day, symptoms of a life out of tune with nature's rhythm, and a mind enslaved to luxury and distraction. To own your time is to measure your strength against your undertakings, avoiding burdens beyond your capacity. This measured approach prevents frustration and preserves peace of mind. Though time is fleeting and often lost to agitation or sloth, what remains is the power to choose how you meet each moment. This choice is your enduring possession, your quiet victory.